Hey everyone, this is DeagleBeagle. So today we're going to go over different ways on how to use Medicham. I'm covering Medicham because if you look at the fake outers, there's not many fake outers to begin with. And I'm not sure, sorry, fake out. I'm not sure if Medicham is top tier, but if you just look at the fake outers, there's hardly any fake outers that are decent. So there's Iron Hands, Grim Snarl. Those are okay. Tinkaton's alright. Weavol's not that good. Gothitelle is alright too. It's could be top tier with Shadow Tag or even competitive if you use it on the right team, like a hard Trick Room team, because it counters Snarl if you use competitive. And Palmot, yeah. Toxicroak is not really as high tier as the other fake outers. It just has lower stats and it is good versus water moves, but just that niche isn't a good enough niche in the current metagame without like Kyogre or something. And then Raichu's alright, but there's really, if you look at it, hardly any good fake outers. Sableye's alright. So back to Medicham. If you look at it, it has actually a lot of attack. That's double of whatever it says. So that's 246, which is actually pretty high. And if you run Sash with it, I would use Close Combat on all of them. If you're not running Sash with it, then maybe use Low Kick so you don't lower your defenses. But I would just use probably Sash with it, with a move set with Close Combat, Fake Out, Psycho Cut on pretty much all the Medichams. And the fourth move, personally, I would use something that either helps you gain speed control or is a priority move. So that's kind of like a form of speed control. So if you, for example, you hit a Flutter Mane and it has Sash, well, it's just gonna outspeed you next turn and finish you off. So what are you gonna do? Well, if you have Bullet Punch, you could Bullet Punch it. If you have Trick Room, you could, I don't know, try to redirect the attack with your Follow Me ally or Rage Powder ally and go for a Trick Room something. But I personally don't know about Trick Room because, as I said, in the current meta, like, I mean, if you're going to go for Trick Room, you would probably want to use it first turn. And then it's like, well, then what's the point of Medicham? Because it's basically a fake out machine that also has powerful moves and Sash, so it's going to be somewhat consistent. But personally, I would not use Trick Room. That's the set that Jamie Boyd recommends, but I'll say it again. You're not going to have time to Trick Room usually on the second turn unless you have some sort of redirection support. So the whole idea of just getting up Trick Room, I suppose if you bluff the fake out and they protect or something, or maybe they don't protect, you just decide to Trick Room if it's not a good time to fake out, maybe. But I think on average, I would use this one. This one seems much better because you could almost kill something like it have Sash or like 20% HP, and you could use Bullet Punch with it and finish it off. I don't think it's worth using Terra Steel for the Bullet Punch, but maybe. If you're not using Sash, then maybe I would consider it because it is a good complementary typing with its typing. But the problem with Medicham, I mean, every physical attacker has problems with Intimidate, but yeah, Medicham would have problems with Intimidate and Will-O-Wisp. There's a lot of Arcanines that outspeed it. So I've shown you two Terra Fighting ones. You could use Terra Psychic as well because you could help pick up the kill on Iron Hands or something. So if you look up Medicham, it could fake out, outspeed it, and then probably one-shot it because it has so much attack. Okay, Psycho Cut. I was thinking about taking it off top tier, but I'm like, it's one of the only good fake outers, and it seems so consistent. And I never understood why they put these random EVs in there. Okay, so if you use Terra Psychic, that I'm actually surprised that doesn't one shot. It can one shot 1/3 of the time approximately, but I'm actually surprised it doesn't do more than that. But if you use a fake out plus a psycho cut, that should kill Iron Hands unless it has a decent amount of bulk. Yeah, because 12 point something plus 89 is more than 100 bare minimum. So if you fake out Iron Hands and then use Terra Psychic, you're gonna two-shot it. So that is an option. Now, close combat with Terra Fighting would do also a considerable amount because it has more power than Psycho Cut, but it doesn't super affect it. So if they Terra Grass, for example, then close combat could, looks like it could even possibly kill it, but most likely wouldn't two-shot it with fake out plus close combat. But you would do more damage if they aren't weak to psychic if you're just doing a neutral close combat. So the it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to counter Iron Hands, or are you trying to just do the most amount of damage in general? Because if you look at some of the Pokemon, there are some that are weak to Psychic, but most Pokemon are not weak to Psychic. Most of them either take neutral or there's about as many immunities to Psychic as weaknesses. So on average, you're not gonna really super affect them most of the time. So personally, I would maybe use Terra Fighting, but the main selling point of Terra Psychic would be if you have Medicham, it outspeeds Iron Hands, and you want to beat their fake outer. So that might be better for that specific and other matchups, but I would probably use Terra Fighting, do more damage even if they have like Arcanine or something. And this might be somewhat gimmicky and you might require speed control, but with Sash you would have a 200 power stab move with reversal, just a thought. So that would be like way more efficient than close combat when you're down to a Sash. So it actually like forces them to not ignore it a lot more unless they want to take a 200 power fighting hit from a Pokemon that has 246 attack stat. Now, here's another one. So let's say you close combat or you fake out, and then you either are down to Sash or full HP, or down to Sash or 30% HP. Detect would be good in a lot of different circumstances to help keep this thing alive, but generally, Detect is always a good move on pretty much every Pokemon, so it's fine. But personally, I'm an aggressive player. I would use Bullet Punch with Medicham onto like a Fluttermane or whatever, and hopefully try to have the right ally to mitigate their ally. So if their Fluttermane's down to a Sash because you Psycho Cutted it first turn, you could Bullet Punch, and hopefully you have like Sandy Shocks or whatever, let's just say, to deal with their hypothetical Arcanine ally, and assuming the Arcanine doesn't have extreme speed either. Maybe that's a bad example, but Medicham is rather slow, and you might even want Tailwind with it because this is really slow. Like in a Paradox meta, I don't know if this thing's even top tier. I every time I test it, it seems like it does all right, but never like really bad. So I don't want to say it's not top tier because it is consistently good, but is it ever great? It almost never is great. It's almost always, to me, consistently like mediocre. So I would want to make it not top tier, but since it has fake out, and that's such a niche move, especially with its speed, that I'll probably just err on the side of caution and just promote it to top tier. Well, some people say I should actually demote it based on that logic, but like unless I can prove that a Pokemon is like bad or not great in like every battle, well, not good at least in every battle, and lacks some sort of niche that it really needs for it to be worth putting in top tier. I'm probably just gonna put it on top tier and just know that it's gonna be like one of the lowest tiered Pokemon in the top tier section. Because if you look back again at the fake outers, there's really not many good fake outers. And this being able to outspeed Iron Hands would actually make it, in a sense, higher tier than Iron Hands possibly if you're against a team with Iron Hands using it on a non-Trick Room team. You could outspeed that. You could probably pick up the KO on it before it could KO you back. So I would say it's barely top tier. There's other ones you can choose from, but it's like almost none of these Pokemon are good. Salazzle is uh, is alright, but you would probably want. Well, you don't have to use a jetpack with it. You could use flamethrower with it, but you might even want sash on a lot of these fake outers because they're pretty fragile, most of them. And the ones that aren't fragile, they tend to be rather slow, like Grimmsnarl or Iron Hands. So that's why I think Medicham has a niche. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. And check out my Discord, by the way. I'll link it in the description. We had a Deagle. I had my first tournament yesterday. Deagle's Beagle Battles is what my Discord is called. And we had 16 people actually register for the first tournament. And I don't even have that many followers anymore because I unfollowed a lot of people. Um, and then I think that removed, yeah, I removed them from following me or something like that. Um, and then now I'm trying to add a lot of people back. But I had a lot of random people add me from all these tournaments that I would either win or do well in, or they just knew me, But it's been so long since I've talked to them, I can't even remember some people to add them back. So also when you follow people, they're not forced to like necessarily follow you back. So we'll get there. We'll have another tournament. I did actually win my whole tournament yesterday. So I'll have to break down my team with probably Cloverbells or someone like a Dit. I want to say his last name is Subramian or something like CK49 on YouTube. Check out Cloverbells and CK49. So again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.